welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another First Division review show. It's Keith and Keith today, essentially. Keith Ryan and Keith Fitzsimons. What's the story, Keith? How are you?
How are you? You well? Nice to have you back in the First Division show.
I do love it. I was demoted this week, yeah, because I wasn't on the Premier. I demoted myself. We'll start off with Treaty and Waterford FC. Fish Treaty United 1, Waterford FC 2 in obviously a Munster derby, and Waterford 2-0 up inside 30 minutes. Cobh, who apparently was excellent this game, and Dara Power. Edogun scored very late for Treaty, but yeah, it's a good win for Waterford following on from the win in Richmond Park they had last week. So they keep that momentum going a little bit. 9 points behind Galway in the league. They have a game in hand, with 5 points ahead of Longford with a game in hand. I think you said it on the show last week, because I watched the shows and I'm not on, by the way, that Waterford are kind of drifting in a little bit like, and it does feel like that, and it's difficult to get away from that. But, you know, they just have to keep going and try and get as many wins as they can. They're now the second highest scorers in the league, by the way, behind Cork. And Galway have scored a lot of goals, by the way. They've scored 50 goals, Waterford. Cork and 52. The problems are elsewhere. They've conceded 25, so that tells you all you need to know, in my opinion, as well. But yeah, a good win for them here in Treaty. Some will say a routine win, but still a very good win for them, and that's all they can do at the moment, isn't it, Keith?
Yeah, I think we could repeat ourselves weekly, Keith, with Waterford. They're literally just prepping for a playoff, and that's my honest opinion. They're not going to drop the playoffs. They're not going to catch Galway, even though they have a game in hand and they're only 9 points behind. It's a good win. Like, Treaty's a tough place to go, and they've been on a good run themselves, Treaty. So it was good for them to get the win. And look, Treaty's goal was consolation in the end. So the Waterford weren't really threatened as such. The 3 points were always in the bag from early on in the game. So look, you know, the Waterford manager, Sarah, he'll be looking to for the next, I think there's 8 games left or so, or 12 games left.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be looking to get his team, and he'd be saying, well, he plays well there and he plays well there. You know, he'd be rejigging his team a little bit, I think, in the next couple of weeks, you know, because it's going to be a tough playoff, whether they're playing Galway or Cork City. You know, it's going to be tough. And look, Waterford, they're good enough to go up, but you know, they just have to get the prep work done before they go into these playoffs, because you know they're a lottery. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit concerned if I was Galway and Cork if I had to go into the playoffs, because there's a good chance. I know Cork look like they're in a good position now, but that could go to the wire, you know, still. And if that's the case, as you say, Waterford are waiting on the long grass, and they're very dodgy on a one-to-one basis, to be fair. But as for Treaty, I suppose, look, I'm not Treaty aren't as good as they were last season. They were never going to be as good as last season, in my opinion. So I think they've actually reacted well this season, the position they're in. I mean, they're battling for the playoffs. They're in the playoffs as we speak. So, you know, it's happy days for them. I think a lot of people thought they might struggle more after last season, but they haven't really.
Yeah, they've definitely surprised me early on the season, particularly, and we discussed it after the Cork defeat in the Markets Field. That's right. Well, they were absolutely hammered that game, but they've come back into the season as such. They're now 2 points ahead of Wexford in the playoff. It was a tough L game for them. You know, Waterford, they're not an easy side to beat. So, like, if you're a Treaty fan, you wouldn't be expecting to take 3 points at the weekend. A draw maybe being a fair result for Tommy Barrett, he might have expected. But they've been on a relatively run of form, and it's a bit of a setback. But with Wexford not getting the 3 points in Galway, it does keep them in the playoffs, which Tommy Barrett will be happy with. And they go into next week, and obviously, again, 12 games to go. I'd rather be in the playoffs than not.
Yeah, absolutely. Finished Galway United 2, Wexford 2, Manley after 14. He's actually started quite well, like always, to be fair, hasn't he? Barry equalising after 19. Barry putting them in front. Wexford, he wayside in 23. And that man Walsh on 62 makes it 2-2. Wexford have been flying the last few weeks. We'll talk about Galway in a minute, but I think a few weeks ago you're saying this is a bad result for Galway. It's a bad result for Galway in the sense of Cork won, if you know what I mean. But Wexford are going good. I mean, they won Sligo in the Cup. They've had some great results in the league. They're really doing well. They're 6th in the table. Really in that shake-up with Treaty for a playoff play. Ian Ryan has them going. They've scored a lot of goals, create chances. And they'll be a little bit disappointed. Well, disappointed mightn't be the word, but they would have been confident, actually. I think they could have got to go and get a win aim in DC Park. So fantastic stuff for them at the moment.
Absolutely. Look, Wexford started the season not so good. You know, and in the last couple of weeks, Ian Ryan seems to have been playing pretty good football. You know, and the two games that have stopped the momentum have been against the top two sides. Obviously, Galway last week 2-2, and then Cork City beat them in Wexford a couple of weeks ago. So, but like you're right, they would have expected to go to the West because they've already been there against Sligo and they won the game. So, you know, I said to Gavin last week, this is John Caulfield would have been worried about this game, and rightly so, you know. And you know, obviously Galway have to keep on the coattails of Cork City, and they didn't do that this week. You know? So, Conor Barry, 2 goals, you know, and you know, just that's his 5th in 6 games, you know, and it just goes to show you, players may need a particular manager to just give them a little cuddle and to get them going, you know, and it's fantastic. Luka Lovic is flying at Wexford,
he's back from
and yeah, absolutely, and they have a solid foundation there, you know, and they like, I mean, I don't want to say they wouldn't look too out of place in the playoff because, you know, there's a couple of strong sides in there, and obviously the Premier Division team comes into it as well, into the reckoning. But they would, on their day, they beat Sligo on the Cup, and they give anyone a game of football. Over 2 legs might be different, but you never know.
Yeah, and they're definitely in form. Galway, though, as I said, it's not like it's a terrible result in terms of they're after drop points to a team that's playing poorly or something like that. But it is a bad result in terms of they lose ground in Cork. So they'll be disappointed with that, to be fair. Yeah,
look, you expect to win your home games, don't you, Keith? Like, and John Caulfield will be disappointed, particularly because he went 1 goal up. You know, to go goal up and then to go 2-1 down.
Fairly quickly.
Yeah. Saying that's really. Look, Rob Manley, you already discussed it. He's 3 goals in 4 games since he signed from Bray. It just goes to show you.
Did he even score 3 at Bray this season, to be honest?
You put me on the spot there. I think it may have been 3.
I'm putting you in the spot, but at the same time, it just shows, as you say, 3 and 4 games. But he might score 2 or 3, maybe 4 for Bray all season. But that's not necessarily to do with him either. I think you'd mentioned that actually when he signed as well, that there's a good chance he'll do better at Galway. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you have someone to create chances and you're in the positions to put the chances away, you're always going to score. Or if you have 5 chances, you're always going to score 2 or 3 of them, you know. And a fair play to Rob, you know, he took the decision to go full-time football and it's paying off for him. Stephen Waltz obviously scored it again. He's now the top scorer in the First Division. So, fantastic for him. Look, they're 3 points behind Cork City. Cork have a game in hand. I said it last week that if the results went the way of Cork this week, that it's game over. We're going to discuss Cork in a minute. I think Cork have the title wrapped up. I really do.
They finished Cork City 6 at Lone Town 1 at Turner's Cross. Barry Coffey with a hat-trick. Coleman, Hoonahan, Keating penalty. By the way, it was 6-0 after 60 minutes. Doyle in the last minute for Athlone. We'll get on to Athlone in a second because I watched them heading game park at Strata and I thought they were dreadful. But massive win for Cork. I was just thinking, Coffey hasn't really scored in a couple of weeks and then he bangs a hat-trick. You know, but look, it's Cork just done their job. It's simple as that. I know Athlone are very poor. We'll get on to them in a minute because I don't know what's going on there about players being sold and stuff, new squad or whatever. But we'll get on to them in a second. But Cork just did their job. 1 defeat in 23 games, 52 goals scored, top scorer, scores in the league, 11 against, some record, a goal difference of 41 basically.
Yeah, and look, it's the 3rd game unbeaten as well. So, I mean, what a run. And that's why I mentioned, I think the title's theirs. They've a game in hand. Galway are going to probably have to beat them twice with the remaining games that they have against them.
I will say their game in hand is with Waterford, so that could be an interesting one, but...
Yeah. I understand that, but you know, winning habit. They're in a winning habit, and you know, it's tough to break that winning habit for any team. You know, I mean, they go to Derry in a few weeks, and I said to Gavin, I think they'll give Derry a relatively good game. You know, I think they have the players there that will threaten Derry. But look, 6-1, Coffey getting a hat trick. I mean, if you look at the second goal, Dylan McGlade was absolutely fantastic on the wing. Jinked past a couple of players and to play the ball across Coffey for a tap in. Athlone, like their first was a mistake, you know. So I mean, Cork, like, they're spreading the goals around the team, which is good as well. Coffey, Coleman,
all season,
Andy. So you know, I think they're unstoppable. I think hand them the title now. Like, Cork City fans aren't going to be happy with me saying that, but I think you hand them the title now. I think I think they're that good.
No, they've been unbelievable. As for Athlone, Keith, what's going on at Athlone?
Jeez, that was short and quick.
Wasn't it?
I said that they signed 6 or 7 players, did they?
How they out of the blue, though? Yeah, it was just completely out of the blue. Like, I missed it as well, if you know what I mean, until someone mentioned it to me, actually.
Well, I think everyone missed it, Keith, because he only announced them when the starting lineup was announced. So, and I said to a couple of my mates, I was like, they have to sign 6 or 7 players. Like, they might give Cork a game, but how wrong was I? You know.
And to be fair, like, I don't like, you know, kicking them while they're down, but I did see them the week before against Drogheda, and I thought to myself, my God, these are poor, very poor. And I don't know. Like, it's now the time though to bring in the 6 or 7 players. You should not wait till the end of the season and just, if you want to lose the players you have, let's say, just wait till like, what's the benefit now? Unless these 6 or 7 players are absolutely brilliant players. But
the thing that gets me is that there's no manager in place yet. So they're bringing 6 in, and if they bring a new manager in, then he doesn't fancy them 6 or 7 players. Like, you're starting afresh again. So I mean, Shane Keegan, same at Cobh, like he's probably going to wait till the end of the season to bring the players in that he wants, you know, and build from there. But
sensible,
like,
isn't it?
It's funny you mentioned Athlone. I have my notes. Where do we go from here? You said it at the start of the conversation. Like, they're a bit of a train wreck at the moment. And in fairness, they do always score, and they scored again this week. So they're putting the ball in the net, but they're not putting the ball in the net as much as they want, obviously, to win games.
I just don't know at the moment, to be fair. Like, it's hard to, you're trying to be positive about teams and clubs, but if an Athlone fan wants to tell me, and they haven't told me yet in the comments, any bit of positivity coming out of that club, let me know. Longford Town 2, Cobh Ramblers 0, Jordan Adiemo on 4, and Han Rashi, who was at Dundalk, on 44. So 64, a couple of new signings there for Longford. And I suppose you could argue they're trying to gear up for the playoffs as well. You just never know. But in reality, those signings are probably looked at as in next season. But a nice win for them, I suppose. And just, I suppose, more importantly, stay in the playoffs for them. It just puts them 6 points out of Treaty, doesn't it? And a further 8 ahead of Wexford. I do fancy they'll probably keep above them too, because I don't think the other two, even though Wexford are playing very well, will have the consistency to win so many matches to finish above them. Yeah, I mean, it's a good result for them. Job done, I suppose, comfortable enough in the end.
Yeah, I thought Longford were getting sucked into the kind of. They certainly were. They were, because they haven't been on good run of form. Like, but they're a bit of a mad club. They're inconsistent. They beat, as I said last week, they beat Galway home and then lose to Treaty, hammered in Treaty. So it's a good win. It keeps them ahead of, obviously, Treaty, who lost, and Wexford, who drew. So the points difference is a little bit more than it was the previous week. So that's good. Highlights showed Sam Verdon had a good game. And Dean McMenemy had a fantastic game as well. So Sam, I think I know what you're going to say. Sam Verdon, like, he seems to have found his club, doesn't he? Well, Longford, he didn't perform with Bray. I know he went to Pats. I'm not sure how he performed at Pats, but at Longford, they seem to click together. So, and obviously his brother's there now as well. So, solid, crucial win though for Longford.
As for Cobh Ramblers, I mean, it's difficult to discuss Cobh, actually, to be fair, because we talked about Keegan has come in, new manager. They've conceded, by the way, 61 goals this season, which is great, or not great. Only Athlone have conceded more than 63. But, you know, he gets to have a good look at the squad, and you can nearly repeat it every week because they're 9 points behind Bray in the league. Like, they're not going to catch them. They're probably going to finish ahead of Athlone. But, you know, all Keegan can do is assess his squad. But you just feel like there's a better plan at Cobh to do that than there is maybe at Athlone. But as you said previously, Cobh actually have a manager in place that they're going to have next season at the club.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's prep work for next season. And I'll be honest, Keith, I expect a little bit more from Cobh this week because they had beaten Bray 3-1. They were on the up. They played Cork in the Cup. and lost only by a goal in Coleman's. So I was expecting a little bit more, but it's mad. There's a couple of teams in this division that seem to be just drifting. Athlone are drifting, Cobh are drifting, Bray are drifting, and then obviously Longford and Waterford are drifting on a different scale into the playoffs. So, Shane Keegan, he brought a couple of players in, but there's vast improvements needed, and conceding so many goals over the course of the season, and still 12 games to go. That's not a good thing, and that's where his bedrock really should be. Start from the back, stop conceding goals. When you stop conceding goals, you get something out of the game. So,
yeah, definitely, Keith. Look, we'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, hit your bell notification button. Thanks again, Keith. Brilliant stuff.
Cheers, Keith.